Hi guys, welcome back to my channel if you're new. I am having the best day ever. Today is actually Father's Day when I'm filming this, so we had like a fun little day with my dad this morning. But I came home early and I have like just been cleaning the house. I'm reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez right now, and I have literally just been like listening to it, cleaning the house, have this candle going that smells so good. Currently, I have sushi getting delivered. I'm gonna watch Bridgerton season 3 part 2 and House of the Dragon comes on tonight. If you can't tell, I'm doing pretty dang well today. I've read about 25 books so far this year, which is my best reading year maybe ever, and I know that that's not like a ton compared to some people, but for me, I'm actually doing pretty well. I think my goal for the year is 50 books, so I'm like right on track. I would like to do like a little bit better than what I said I was gonna do, just because like I'm the tiniest bit of an overachiever, so I would like to do like maybe 51. I'm really excited with how the year's going so far, and I have had 7 5-star books so far this year, which is kind of crazy to me. I have actually gotten a lot more picky with my 5-star reads, so there's a lot of books that I've read so far this year that definitely could have gone on this list, but these are like top of the charts, top tier favorite books that I've read so far this year. So I want to share them with you. I know that it's only halfway through the year, but I feel like it's really fun to do like a mid-year recap just to see like what we're liking, what we're not liking, what our goals are for the rest of the year. I love watching any videos like kind of like a mid-year check-in kind of thing. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope you get some recs from this video, and let's just get into it. The very first book that I read this year was Dance with Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This was such a shock to me that number one, first book I read gave 5 stars, but also that it was so good because I feel like this book and the second book, which is also a 5-star read, Vow of Thieves, I tell everybody that I talk to that these books kind of give me the same energy as Throne of Glass, not as high stakes. The female main character that we follow's name is Kazi. Kazi is a part of the Queen's militia. This queen is the queen of the entire continent, and she is kind of just checking all the different areas. She goes to check this part of the continent that is really far away from all the other kingdoms. The people there call themselves the First People. Their king or patre's name is Jace, and so she basically has to go and evaluate them, making sure they're doing everything correctly. And in the process of this, they kind of get off to a rough start. They just really don't get off to the right foot, and then they end up getting taken by slave traders. They are taken out of the kingdom, away from her militia, away from his kingdom whenever he has so many responsibilities because he just became the new patre. They end up escaping, but they're in the wilderness chained to each other, and they have to find their way back to that kingdom together somehow. It is so unbelievably good. The tension is amazing. The first book is more character based and like very like character driven. The second one is very plot based. I absolutely adore these books so much. I gave them both 5 stars. Highly recommend. I know you guys have seen this series. I saw it all the time before I actually picked it up, and it is just so worth the read. I highly recommend reading the series. Now, to the people that know me, this is no shock, no surprise. I have a Divine Rivals tattoo on my arm. It's an iris flower, so this is no shock. But I also rated Ruthless Vows 5 stars. So this is the second book in the Letters of Enchantment duology. This continues to follow journalist Iris and Roman in this war between gods. This book ties up everything. It goes in a lot deeper to the actual plot, like a lot of the dynamic between the gods, a lot more of the characters, a lot more from the side characters that we love. A lot of people didn't like this one as much as the first one, but I absolutely adored this one. I thought that it gave me everything that I didn't get from the first book, which I didn't think was anything. I thought that I got everything for the first book, but I guess I needed a little bit more because it was all in this book. I just absolutely adored this book, and it's just a perfect duology. I guess I'm just on a duology kick this year. So moving on to a book that I actually did a vlog on my channel. It's the first video I have on this channel actually, so I'll leave it linked up below if you want to watch it. But I read Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. This was my first time reading it, and I saved it for this time because the third book was about to come out. I heard from everybody that the first book was the slowest, was the worst. They were like, just keep going after that. You're like not gonna like it, whatever. They couldn't be more wrong. They could not be more wrong in my case. I am the biggest fan of this first book. This is the only one in the whole series I gave 5 stars to. The world building in the beginning is kind of a lot, but if you can get past that, like this is, in my opinion, the best character development in all of the book. The most emotional, the most unique world. I literally, like, whenever I think about this book, the feeling that I had whenever I was reading this for the first time was just it was electric. It was electric. I don't know any other way to put it. Like, I was so into this world. I loved the characters. I loved Bryce in this one more than I loved her in any of the other ones. It's hard to explain this series. It's pretty much like a urban adult fantasy series. It's a lot of world building. It's like a mixture of mystical creatures that are in this like urban setting, but it's phenomenal. Phenomenal, especially this book. The other two I gave like around 4 stars to, but this one was just an absolute masterpiece. The ending was crazy. Like, this whole book, this is literally like 800 pages and I was hooked the entire time I was reading this one. So yeah, kind of out of left field, Crescent City, I loved the first one more than all of them. And this is actually one of my favorite Sarah J Maas books I've ever read. Another vlog that I did on my channel actually was One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I will also leave that link down below if you want to go check that out. In this world, the magic system is so freaking unique, which is one of my favorite things about it. There are 12 different types of cards and they have magic such as invisibility, mind control, beauty, all different types of powers. And if you touch that card or you own that card, then you have the power of that card. And Elspeth, whenever she was young, touched a nightmare card, which gave her a nightmare that lives in her head. It's like an entity that lives in her head. And so we're kind of just following that journey with her. Also, the entire land has a curse on it, so it's covered in mist. Absolutely covered in mist, and the mist hasn't lifted in years. This is the Shepherd King Duology. When I tell you guys that I love these characters, I love this world, I could not get enough of this story. I was like going through all the emotions whenever I was reading this on the vlog. I was crying, I was laughing, like I was so into this story. The first one I gave 5 stars to, the second one I actually gave 6 stars to. Two Twisted Crowns was my first 6-star read of the year. I couldn't recommend this series more. I want everybody to read this. I want everybody to experience it. I would highly recommend reading this book in the fall. I loved the writing. I felt like the writing was done so beautifully. This is adult, so it does contain spice, but it's very minimal and it doesn't really have a lot of descriptions in it. If that's something that you typically avoid, I wouldn't really worry about it in this series because it's very skippable. I adore this series. I want to reread it in the fall because it's not like scary, but it's like the vibes would be perfect for fall, and I think that this is just, I'm a seasonal reader. I like to assign things to seasons. Last but not least, whenever I was at the beach a couple weeks ago, I read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and this was my 3rd Emily Henry book. I read Beach Read and Book Lovers before this. Beach Read was my favorite out of those two, and I didn't really know what to expect from this one. I've heard a lot of people really like it, a lot of people don't really like it. This is a second chance romance book, and honestly, I didn't even realize until I read Love in Other Words that I love second chance so much. I think it just has such a special place in my heart because it's really the only one at this point that I relate to as somebody in like a long-term relationship. It's like really showcasing the longevity of love and like what it looks like whenever you know like all sides of a person and can love them anyways through all of the trials of life. This follows Harriet, who is meeting up with her college friend group at the cottage that they went to every single summer in Maine. So her ex-fiance, Wynn, was a part of this friend group and they were engaged. She's on her way to tell her friends that they broke up the engagement. He's not gonna be there. She's really nervous to tell them. But then whenever she gets to the cottage, she realizes that he is there. 2 of her other friends got engaged and she doesn't want to ruin their happy week. So they pretend like they're still together the entire week. So they have to act like in front of them. This is such a beautiful story. There's nothing I can say bad about it. It was written beautifully. It had so many great themes. As always, Emily Henry makes it not just about the romance, but about so many other themes that are so incredibly relatable. I loved this story so much and I could not recommend this book more. Definitely put this on your summer TBR because it's the perfect book to read in the summer. I read it at the beach and it was magical. As I was talking about Happy Place, I totally forgot that I actually read Love in Other Words this year. I cannot believe that. So I actually have 8 books that I gave 5 stars to. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, I read in February. I randomly picked it up whenever I was out with friends and I was totally not expecting to love it as much as I did. At that point, I hadn't read a lot of contemporary romance, so I really didn't know if I was gonna like it or not. I was absolutely obsessed with this book. This book follows Macy. We start off with her at a cafe in the town that she's living in. She is like late 20s at this point and she runs into her ex at a coffee shop. So it's going back and forth kind of letting us know why they broke up in the first place. They were childhood friends to lovers. Her vacation home was across the street from his house, and so it kind of just shows their relationship over the years, what got them to the point that they're at now, and seeing if they can rekindle what they had whenever they were kids. This story is so beautiful, and I love childhood friends to lovers because I love how pure the love is whenever they're younger, and just like discovering love, discovering each other, discovering like what it means to like to go from childhood to adulthood, and then it turns into adult, passionate, like intense love. Just again, the same themes of second chance romance, where it's just like knowing somebody so well and intimately. It's just a different kind of love, and it's a different like explanation and expression of love, and I just adore seeing it written in books. I really want to read more of Christina Lauren. I thought that the writing was so good. I just was absolutely hooked the whole time. It's so fast paced. Definitely also recommend this for summer. I think this is such a fun, quick summer read. I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know if you've read any of these, and let me know what your ratings were, and let me know what your 5-star reads of the year are so far. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.